Okay, hello everyone. It's really great to see all of you. We're just getting a few more people are coming in, and then we will get started. Let me open up with a few announcements. First of all, this is our ninth class together. I'm going to talk about in a few minutes that we're actually extending this semester by 1 week for a special class. But we are approaching the end of the semester. If you have not done so already, if this is your first class or if you haven't done this, please make sure you join our communications list, either through our WhatsApp chat or our email list as soon as possible. That's something that you should definitely be on if you have not done so already. I know most of you are, but if you haven't, you could reach out to me or Julia, or Caroline, or Joe today. We'll be able to help you with that process. If this is your first class, or if you do want to rewatch previous classes, I always like to announce that we have a YouTube channel that has recordings of all of our classes. So you could definitely browse that. Joe will put the link to the YouTube channel into the chat. You could browse that. It's just mittlersenior.technology/YouTube. We send this out every week. You could check it out to watch recordings of previous classes. If you missed a class or you want to rewatch a class, you're more than welcome to actually take advantage of that feature. Now, next, we are having a Q&A session as usual tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You should write down throughout today's lesson any questions you have and send them to myself, Julia, Caroline, or Joe today. We will then put those into a list and we will address those at tomorrow's session. We do not take questions during today's class, but if you put something into the chat or if you write them down, we will try and address them here or at tomorrow's session, which is the better opportunity. So make sure if you do have questions, write them down and email them to us before tomorrow night's session. Okay, now I'm going to announce this both at the beginning and the end of the class because I think it's very, very important to be aware of. As I said, this class is lesson 9. Today's lesson is lesson 9. Typically, next class would be lesson 10. Now, we're actually doing something very special for this semester that we've never done before. Next week, which is April 25th, we're going to be having a special class, which I'll talk about in a second. And then the following week, which is May 2nd, will be our 10th class or our final class of the semester, which is perfect timing. It's right before Mother's Day, and that's how we'll end the semester. So once again, although next week is technically our 10th class, we're going to be having a special edition class next week. Then the following week will be our kind of 10th regroup review class together, and we'll end the semester there. Now, let me talk about very quickly what's happening next week, because I'm sure you're very curious. Joe, you can go to the next slide. I'll talk a little bit about this. There was a documentary that aired on PBS about 3 weeks ago, and the documentary is called Fast Forward. Fast forward, I'll read the bio that I was received. It follows 4 millennials and their parents as they travel through time using an MIT-produced aging suit and professional visual makeovers to experience what it's like to age together. Now, I watched this documentary when it was released. I typically am not so fond of these documentaries, but I thought this was extremely interesting and fascinating. I got in contact with the producer of the documentary. The documentary it's a little under 60 minutes. Next week, we actually have the privilege of having a screening of this documentary during our class. And what's even cooler is that following the screening, we are actually going to have the director of the film and also a representative from MIT attend our session, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions regarding the film. I myself, Julie, Caroline, and Joe will be moderating the discussion, but you're more than welcome to put in questions. We're very, very excited for this. I want to make sure that this is aware that you guys are aware that this class it's part of our semester. You're expected to attend the class if you're a student of this spring 2021 semester. This isn't like an optional event. And this also, just because it's not part of our curriculum, you are more than welcome to invite anyone who you think would benefit from this session. In our contact that we're going to send to you later today, I will send a link to the trailer of this documentary so that you could watch it, send it to people, and see if it's of interest to you. I thought it was really, really amazing, and I definitely think it will be great for this group, and we'll have the opportunity to speak to the director and the representative from MIT about this film. So that's what we have in store for next week. And then the week after that, which is May 2nd, it will just be our class, and we will do a review activity and conclude the semester together. So that's what's happening next week. We will be sending out more information about this. I'll also mention again at the end of the class today, I just want to make sure you were aware, next week, it is a required class. It is a required class, but it's going to be a special edition class where we're going to be screening and having a panel discussion with the Fast Forward team. And then the following week will be our 10th and final class of the semester. Okay, well, we'll talk more about this later, but we do have material to get through today. So let's go to the next slide. Today's lesson, as you saw on the opening slide, is going to revolve around the computer mostly. There will be a little bit of phone involvement, but it will revolve around the computer. We will be using Apple computers in order to demonstrate most of this, but almost the entirety of today's lesson can be replicated on a PC computer. And when there are differences, we will be sure to mention them. For the breakout rooms today, the first room is going to be how to share pictures and videos on your smartphones, how to take selfies, how to take pictures, how to send them to your grandchildren, how to play around with those. We're going to look at those. And then in the second breakout room, which I think is very fascinating and something that you guys have actually asked me about multiple times, is how to stay secure and private when you are online shopping, when you are using your phones, how to make sure that your information doesn't get stolen when you're online banking, information like that. Those will be the two breakout room discussions for today. Breakout room 1 will be recorded. So if you would like to attend both of those sessions, I'm just presenting that material. That breakout room 1 will be included in the recording sent out later today. Okay. All right. So the way the managing computer part of this lesson is going to work is we're going to present 10 tips. Some of them are much shorter than others on what you could do to manage your computer in the most efficient way possible. So how to make sure that it's working smoothly. Sometimes people have technical difficulties. Sometimes there are things that are on your computer you are just hidden behind the scenes, which could actually be very interesting to you. So we're going to be showing you a bunch of these today. Okay, so Joe, you can go to the next slide. And Julia is going to present our first tip.
Okay, so on any Apple computer, in the bottom right of your screen, you should see a little trash bin, and that trash bin allows you to delete files from your computer. So the way that you're going to do that is, let's say you find a file on your desktop that you no longer want. You're just going to click on that file and drag it into the trash bin, and that will delete that file from your computer and place it in the trash bin. When you place something in the trash bin, it's not completely deleted forever. And if you put it in by accident and you needed to recover it, you could see that when Joe clicks on the trash bin, it shows him all of the files that he's deleted. And if he accidentally deleted that one, he's able to drag it back out of the trash bin and put it back onto his desktop and recover that file if he deleted it by accident and wanted it back. And then if you wanted to completely clear your trash bin, so these files are in your trash bin, meaning they're deleted, but they're not completely gone because you're able to recover them. So you could see that on the top right corner is an empty button. And we recommend that you empty your trash every once in a while so that it clears all of those files on your computer and it doesn't take up storage. But once you click on that empty button, it will completely erase all of these files and you won't be able to recover them. So make sure that when you click on empty trash, there's nothing in there that you ever need to recover, because once you do that, there won't be a going back option and those will be permanently deleted. And you could see that Joe's trash is now empty. It doesn't have any of those papers inside of the icon. So he deleted all of the files permanently and there's nothing in there anymore.
Great. Now I just want to point out on a PC computer, it's actually called a recycle bin. They clearly mean the same thing. It's where you drag your files, websites, bookmarks, pictures, videos, anything that is not that you're either done with, or maybe it's an old file. And going through this once in a while could actually make your computer work faster. And also, it just makes your computer easier to manage when you don't have so much going on, especially things that you don't use or things that aren't as active or necessary anymore. So I recommend using this function. A lot of people just toss their files in the trash, but don't empty the trash. And that does not clear your storage because the files are still there. They're still on your computer. Not until you click on empty and really get rid of everything from the trash will your storage show any drop. So by putting something in the trash, it won't do anything until you actually empty it. So make sure that you do this once in a while. Some computers actually have turned on that every 30 days or so, it will clear the trash automatically for you. Some people have that turned on, or you could just do it manually every time, every week or every month or however often you want to do it. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So here's the next thing we're going to look at, which is also in the same category as making your computer run faster, and something that we actually discussed on the smartphones when we did the managing a smartphone lesson is how to quit your apps. And Joe's going to explain this.
Okay, so the function of quitting apps and the purpose of quitting apps is the same on a phone and on a computer. If you are on a computer and you want to quit your, let's see, for example, I could open the dictionary app, which is just a random app that was on my phone, right? Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. Say I open Microsoft Word, right? Once you open an app, this app might still be running, even if you don't see it on your screen. Okay, so right now I'm going to press the X on Word, but if you see, Word is still, if you look under Word on the bottom of my screen, you should see a black dot. That black dot shows that Word is still technically running. Word is still using up battery and speed on your computer. And as you can see, Zoom and Google Chrome are also doing the same thing because I'm using those apps. But just because I closed out of Word doesn't mean that Word is not running. So to close your app, if I open Word, I can either click Command and Q on a Mac. If you're on a PC, it would just be Control Q instead of Command Q. The other way to do it is if I go to the top left of my screen, I see a little apple. If I click on the apple, I scroll down, I see Force Quit. Once I click on Force Quit, I can click on Microsoft Word and click on Force Quit and confirm. And then Word, if you look on the bottom of the screen again, there is no black dot under Word. That means Word is no longer running, which means that Word is no longer using up battery or speed on the computer.
Great. So you could see that quitting your apps is pretty simple. On an Apple computer, you should click on Command Q, which is the command button is directly to the left of the space bar, and Q, which stands for quit, or Control Q on a PC. Typically on all of these scenarios, Command is the button you would use for Apple and Control for a PC when we have all these kind of keyboard shortcuts is what they're called. Or you can go to Apple, the little apple, which Joe showed you at the top left of the screen, click on Force Quit. You'll see all the applications that you have open. You can click on the ones you want to get rid of and they will force quit. When you force quit an app, you are not deleting the app. You're not getting rid of your progress or anything you've saved on that app. You are just closing it out for the time being, meaning you are done using it for now. You could open it 5 seconds later and you'll see the exact same panel and work that you've been working on. What this basically means is that when you are on the internet, there's no need for you to have Microsoft Word still open because you're not using it. So make sure that every once in a while, I've gotten into the habit of doing this every time I close an app. You use this function so that your computer runs much faster and your battery stays active for as long as possible. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So here's the next thing, which is a very cool feature on all computers, and this is also accessible on smartphones as well. There's an app called the Notes app. And this basically allows you to type in kind of quick information. Now, it does offer the same platform as, let's say, Microsoft Word, where you could type in sentences and letters and words. But the Notes app is actually more, it's easier and less formal. Joe's gonna open up the Notes app on his computer. You can see the icon is right over there. I'll circle it on Joe's dock. Now this Notes app it was designed by Apple for Apple devices. So you should find it on your smartphone. If you have an iPad, it should be there as well. On a PC computer, the program's called Sticky Notes. It obviously does the same thing. It has the same purpose, but you should, but it's the same platform. So if you were on a PC computer, you could just open the same program. It looks like Post-it notes. That's what the icon looks like, and it's called Sticky Notes. It does the same thing. So you can see that Joe just opened up his Notes app. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is at the top of the screen, there's like a box with a pencil pointing right through it. Now this button's called the Compose button. It's the same button you would see when you're composing a new email or composing a new text message. And if you click on it, you are going to create a new note. So Joe, you can go ahead and click on that button. You'll see how it now at the top, it tells me the date, April 18, 2021, 11:47 a.m. That's the date and time. And I have my blinking cursor over here. The first line is always a title. So Joe could type in, tech class or whatever it is. And then as soon as he clicks on enter, and continues to type, the text will become smaller because this is the actual content of the note. So Joe, you could add a few words here so we see what you're typing. And you'll see how the first line is in bold. The reason why they do this is when you have a bunch of notes, which you could see Joe has 6 or so, you'll see how at the top of the note, it will have the bold text, which is what the title is, and it will give you a sneak preview at what the note is about and when it was last edited, which is at 11:48 today. So this is a very simple way to just type in reminders that you have or information that you want to keep in your head. Now, there's another app which we're not going to discuss now, but there's another app called Reminders, and these you could actually set at 11:48, let me know that I have to join this Zoom or something like that. The Notes app does not have that functionality. The Notes app is just for typing in information. You can keep lists here, you can keep a shopping list here, you can keep reminders here, but the Notes app doesn't have a function for you to be able to set times that you want to be reminded about information. If you want to organize your notes, if you have a lot of them, you can add different folders. There's a button at the bottom left of the application of the window that says new folder. You can go ahead and click on that and sort your files into certain folders. So if I have 20 files all about this technology class, maybe I'll name a folder called technology class, and I'll keep them all in here so that my other note files do not get involved in this one. So for example, if Joe opens up all his notes, he could actually drag the file that we were just working on into the folder he just created. Just click, hold, and drag it into the folder. Now you'll see how there's a number 1 next to it, meaning that there's 1 file currently in this folder. So very easily, if you could sort your files as well. Some people like to keep their passwords on a notes file. which is fine. If you're very concerned about safety, there's actually a button at the top of the screen with a little lock. And if you click on that, you could actually lock the file. You'll see how it asks you to lock the note, and it will ask you a password in order to actually lock the note. What that means is every time you want to view this note, you'll be asked to type in this password, making sure that if someone else is using your computer, they cannot see any of the content of this note until the password is typed in. So if you're concerned about privacy and you want to keep information, you could just add a password so that your Notes app is secure. Okay. Now, Joe, you could stay here. You don't have to go back to the presentation. The next thing that we're going to look at is called Stacks, which is a program that Joe's going to show. Stacks, unfortunately, is only for Apple computers. So if you are using a PC, there are other ways to actually do this, but this specifically the Stacks program isn't accessible on PC computers. If you want the alternative for a PC, you could, well, basically what Stacks does, which Joe's will explain, is it allows you to organize your desktop. So Apple has a built-in function that allows you to do this very simply. But if you're on a PC computer, you could do this manually by creating folders, dragging things around, sorting these alphabetically. All right, but Joe's now going to show you how to use Stacks on an Apple computer.
Okay. So as you guys can see, my desktop is very cluttered. I have a lot of screenshots. I have a few videos. I have a few PDF documents. And if I don't want to manually create folders and drag all of these documents into folders, I can just right click on a part of the desktop. And one of the options here is use stacks. If I click on use stacks, then all of a sudden my desktop looks much better. And I see PDF documents, movies, screenshots, and another folder called relocated items. And if I click on PDF documents, if I just click on this right here, then it expands this folder and I can see all of the PDF documents I have. Same thing with movies, same thing with screenshots. This is just a very quick and simple way to organize your computer.
Great. So on a PC, if you want to do this, you could just create folders manually. Apple happened to, which is very helpful, especially if you're a messy person, to design this function that allows you just to do it very simply, click on one button, and now you can see how much clean and nicer Joe's desktop looks. And you can see how it's sorted things by type. So the first one's called PDF documents, meaning if Joe clicks on PDF documents, it will actually open like a library. Joe, you can click on PDF documents so you can see what it looks like. You'll see how it will open up all the files and PDF documents. So when you use Stacks, nothing's actually is disappearing. It's just sorting it. So it's easy to find different files. Okay. All right. So here, the fifth thing we're going to look at, which we also discussed when we were using smartphones, is how to set a wallpaper. You can see that Joe's now looking at a nice mountain here, but let's say he wanted to have a picture of his family or one of his relatives or a friend or another picture he took. Apple and all PC computers allow you to actually change this, and Julia's going to show how to do this.
Okay, so to change the background on your computer, you're going to click on that little settings or system preferences app on the bottom. It's the same one that we looked at on Apple phones or computers, that same gear icon that's gray. So if Joe clicks on that, it's going to open up all the different settings. And the second one says desktop and screensaver. So Joe's going to click on that button. And this is going to allow you to change the background of your computer screen. So first you can see that there are a bunch of different options that come with your computer from Apple that Joe could choose from any of those. So if he clicks on one of those, it will set one of these pre-made pictures to his background. And these are all just pictures that come with Apple. And then if you wanted a more specific picture, maybe of your family or one from your computer, you would click on that little plus button, that Jordan circled. And that would allow you to open all of the files that you have on your computer, all of the different pictures that you have saved. And you could scroll through and choose any of those pictures. And once you find a picture that you want, you would press the blue choose button. And that would then set that picture to your new wallpaper on your computer. So this allows you to put a picture that is specific to you. Maybe you want to put a picture of your family, and you're able to choose from all of the pictures that you have saved on your computer and make one of those your background.
Great. So you can see how it's much nicer for some people to have a nice picture of their family as opposed to some random mountain that Apple is offering. So you could definitely browse through those. And we're actually going to show you as tip number 7, how to use AirDrop, which is a cool tool on how to send a picture. If you have a picture on your phone, for say, of your family and you want to use it as your background on your computer, how do you get it from your phone to your computer? We're going to show you that a little bit later today. Okay, now here's the next thing we're going to look at, which is something called the Finder. This is where everything on your computer is stored. You'll see all the way at the bottom left of the Apple computer, of Joe's computer, there's like a little blue smiley face. That's called the Finder. If you're on a Windows computer, this program is called Libraries, and the icon looks like a few folders. That's what the icon looks like, and you should also see it on the dock, which is the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Both of these do the exact same thing, which is it's where everything on your computer is stored. So if Joe clicks on the Finder, you'll see how this little pop-up will come up, and you'll see that on the left side of the screen, there are a lot of different options. We see desktop, we see downloads, applications, recents, a lot of these different folders. These are all the different folders and categories on your computer that have sorted your files. So for example, if Joe clicks on downloads, these are all the files, whether it's a picture, a video, document, that has been downloaded from the internet to Joe's computer, because it's been downloaded. It's been downloaded from some sort of outside third-party platform to this computer. If Joe clicks on desktop, he's going to see all the files that's currently on his desktop, which is everything that we actually just use stacks to organize. So anything on Joe's desktop, you'll now see in the desktop folder. If you click on applications, you will see all the different programs you've downloaded. Most of them will be the same for everyone. Some of these you actually might not be familiar with because they're more behind the scenes thing. For example, utilities is something that has to be there, but you might not be familiar with it. Or if Joe scrolls to the top, there's also this one over here, scroll up a little bit, in the first row. Yeah, there's that one over there, which is also one you might not be familiar with, but that also, it has to be on computers. It's more the behind the scenes work. And then there are some that you could download separately. For example, Zoom. Zoom is one that you're all on Zoom right now. So you had to download Zoom to this device. You downloaded it, meaning it's become one of your applications, even though it wasn't downloaded when you purchased the computer or purchased the smartphone. Okay, now you'll see at the top right of the Finder window, there's a little magnifying glass. This usually stands for search. So if Joe clicks on the magnifying glass, he could actually type in either the date of that a file was last edited, maybe the name of a file, or some sort of keyword that will allow him to find what he's looking for. So Joe could type in, whatever he's looking for. He typed in the word bracket. Now what's going to happen is every single file, picture, video that has the word bracket in it will come up as in this browser. Now, a nice tip here, which also applies when you're searching on the internet, if you have a phrase that has multiple words, it makes sense to put quotes around the phrase. So for example, if let's say Joe types in tech class, right, which is 2 words. If Joe does not put quotes, the quotation marks around the words tech class, every single file that has the word tech in it will come up. Also, every file that has the word class in it will come up, and the words that have tech class in it will come up. So you're getting not only the tech class, but you're getting words that have tech and class. So Joe will get all his school files that have the word class in it, which is not what he's looking for with this search. So in this case, it's actually smart to put quotes around tech class. Now we'll pull up every single file that has both of those words together. So if you have a long, or you're typing in December 18th, then you don't only want the files that have the word December or that have the word 18, but you want those to be together. So you can see that the quotation marks are actually very helpful in order to find files that have multiple words. Now on a PC computer, this is the exact same thing. You'll actually see documents is a very popular file, a very popular folder, downloads, desktop, and you can obviously add your own. So here, Joe, if you stop sharing for a second, I'll actually screen share just for a second, because I want to see I've organized my computer very nicely. So you see that if I open up my Finder and I go to desktop, you'll see how here are all the files that I currently have on my desktop. I have a folder that's called computer, which I keep all my files in there. So if I open that up, you'll see how I have files going back from 2016. So even before I start using the search function, I know that the file I'm looking for was from this year. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 2020, 2021. Then I can click on, or let me go to Mittler Senior Tech. And then you'll see how I can find these files. If I want a picture of our logo, maybe I'll go to the logos folder. And there we go. And then, oops. And then here's all the logos. So you can see how if you're organized and you keep your files neat, then you'll be able just to browse the Finder just by clicking on folders, opening up different files. You'll be able to find exactly what you're looking for. Recents is also a very helpful button because it shows you what you the file that you most recently looked at. So for example, I just had the fast forward flyer open, which I'll show you later today. But you'll see that I just clicked on it because it was the most recent file that I opened. So it came up right there. And as I open up more files, this fast forward file will start to drop down on my recents list, and it will give me the most recent files. So Finder is definitely where computer users spend the most of their time, because anytime they want to open up any sort of file or find something, they rely on the Finder. And if you're an organized person, it shouldn't be too hard to find files. It might take a little longer if you're not, but you can definitely use the search and the quotation tip that I showed you today in order to find files that you are looking for. Okay. Joe, we could screen share your computer now. Now, what I mentioned earlier, we're going to show you a tool called AirDrop. Now, this allows you to share a file from one of your devices to another. So you might be saying, why can't I just text it to myself or email it to myself? AirDrop only works if both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network. And it allows you to very easily send even long files from one of your devices to another in a few seconds. So Joe, you could spotlight your video or just you could hold up your phone. We're now going to look at Joe. What Joe's going to do for us as this demo is he's going to take a picture that he has on his phone, and he is going to use the AirDrop functionality in order to send it to his computer. And you'll see how this picture or whatever he's going to AirDrop will, in a few seconds, magically be put on his computer. So you could see how Joe's now looking at a video that he has on his phone. He opened up the Photos app or the Files app or whichever file you want to AirDrop. Now the process starts the same way as sending a message. You want to click on the Share button, which is a button at the bottom left of the screen. It's a box with the arrow pointing up. You want to click on that button. And once you click on it, you'll be given many options for sharing, including the typical ones, which are messages and mail. Now, directly to the left of messages, you'll see a button that says AirDrop. Now, the AirDrop icon just looks like a few kind of semicircles around it. If you click on AirDrop, it will actually show you all the file, it will show you all the devices that are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. It will show you all the devices that are in that are near this device that Joe could AirDrop to. So you'll see it actually might take a few seconds, but you'll see that now it came up under devices, Joseph's MacBook Pro. Now that is Joe's computer, and it came up because Joe is near his computer and they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Now, if Joe clicks on that icon, Joe's MacBook Pro, what will happen now is the file magically will appear on Joe's computer. So let's see if this works. you should get some sort of beeping noise, and you'll see how it goes directly into the downloads folder, and it's right over there. If Joe can go ahead and click on that, you'll see how this file will be the exact same file that Joe was looking at on his phone. So once again, the way to airdrop, and you could do this from a computer to a phone, from an iPad to a computer, from any device to another, as long as both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network. You open up the file that you want to share. Joe, we can actually try now from the computer to the phone. So let's say, Joe, you could use this file. The way you would do it from a computer, you want to click on File, which is the button, or Joe, you can also use that. Yeah, we can click on the share button. That's easier. The box with the arrow pointing up, that's the same button that we were looking at on the phone. And you'll see that the third option I see over here is in fact AirDrop. So let's go ahead and click on that. And you'll see how it will come up just like it did on the phone with all the devices that are in relative space of this computer. Right now it says Joseph Kaplan iPhone, that's Joe's phone. When he clicks on it, it will then send the file back over to his phone, and he will have it, it will come up and it will automatically be put into his camera roll. So you can see how easy it is in order to send a file from one device to another. The only condition and the only restriction is that the file is that both devices are near each other. That's number one, and they're connected to the same Wi-Fi network. So anyone here would not be able to use AirDrop in order to send a file to me, because my devices aren't near yours, and we're also both not connected to the same Wi-Fi network. So you have to make sure that both your devices are connected to the same Wi-Fi network, and they're also near each other. This is a very cool tip, especially if you want to send a long file. For example, if you have a 10-minute video, which sometimes messages and email will say, that file's too long or it's too big to send. You could actually use AirDrop, and it will obviously take longer because it's a bigger file, but it will eventually go through. So I recommend checking out this functionality. AirDrop is a very easy way to send files from one of your devices to another. Okay, now our eighth tip, number 8. I know we're getting a lot of information at you today, but I'm hoping that you're writing down your questions, which we'll address tomorrow. The 8th thing we're going to look at is called split screen. Just like it sounds, it allows you to multitask, to work on 2 programs at the same time. So what Joe's doing now, which he's going to explain, is you need to have 2 programs open in order to do this. Meaning you can't have one open and then try and split screen and then add the other. Both the programs that you want to split screen, which is having one on the left, one on the right, need to be open first. So you can see Joe now has the Chrome tab open, which is the internet, and he also has the Notes app open. So Joe's now going to show you how to split screen both of these programs so you can multitask and work on them at the same time.
Okay, so you can split your screen by just extending the windows and making them a little making them wider, or you can either do it manually, or an easier way is if you click on the top left, you should see something. You should see the 3 buttons: the red button to close out the tab, the yellow button to minimize the tab, and the green button. If you hover over the green, or if you click on the green button, then no, never mind. You have to hold down on this green button. And once you hold down on that green button, you can drag your mouse down. You should see a couple options: enter full screen, tile window to the left, or tile window to the right. Let's say I want to tile the window to the left. If I click on that, then you can see that my window is on the left of my screen. And then on the right of my screen, I can click on this Notes app, and now it's the split screen. Now it is a split screen, and I can see both the Chrome and my notes. Now, if I want my notes to be smaller and my Chrome to be bigger, in the middle of the screen, there's a little white bar. And if I click and drag that to the right, then Chrome will be bigger and Notes will be smaller and vice versa.
Great. Okay, so you guys could see how split screen is very helpful, especially when you want to work on two things at the same time. The way you do it, once again, is on an Apple computer by holding down the green button at the top left of the screen and clicking on tile left or tile right, so that you have both programs open at the same time. If you're on a PC computer, it's actually a little bit different. You basically have to drag the window either left or right. So if I have Microsoft Word open and I drag it all the way to the left or all the way to the right, it will snap into place halfway through. So it's a little bit easier because you just have to drag it in either direction as far as possible as you can go, and then it will snap either left or snap right, allowing you to have both programs open at the same time. Okay, now here's the next thing we're going to look at, which is a few settings regarding your keyboard. Joe, if you click on the system preferences button at the bottom of the screen, every single device, no matter what it is, always has settings. That's where kind of everything takes place behind the scenes. So Joe opened up settings. It's also called system preferences. If you click on keyboard, which is the button over there, it's on the 4th row. There are a few things I'm going to show you here that actually a few of you have asked me this semester before. The first thing, Joe, you can click on is text at the top of the screen. You'll see that we have some buttons over here. The first thing says text. Now, what's cool about this is you could actually have shortcuts using your keyboard. So right now, you'll see in this list, it says OMW replace with on my way. So these are abbreviations that if anytime Joe types in the words, the letters OMW, it will autocorrect. It will automatically change those letters to the words on my way. For example, let's say at the end of every email, I say, thanks, comma, Jordan. So what I could do, which Joe, you can do by clicking on the little plus at the bottom left of the screen, Joe could type in replace thanks. Let's say Joe types in the word thanks with exactly what I want. So you could Joe type in capital T, thanks, comma, Joe, or whatever it is. And now every time Joe types in the word thanks, the phrase thanks, comma, Joe will actually come up. This is very helpful, maybe if you want to type in JHM, which is my initials, and it will automatically put in Jordan Harry Mittler. It will actually input my whole name, which is, it's very helpful when you're typing in long phrases over and over again. You could actually just use this functionality and set keywords that will replace with others. Usually it's a shorter keyword, which you want to replace with a longer keyword. The only restriction here is that the phrase that you want to replace has to be one word. So you can't say replace on my way with on my way exclamation mark. You can't do that because on my way is three words. It has to be one word, which you could replace with as many words as you want, but the left column has to be one word. Now, Joe, if you click on input sources, which is the next on the right over here, here's where you could actually add languages. So if you want to type in using a Spanish keyboard, you could add that by clicking on the little plus at the bottom left of the screen. Once you click on it, you will see all the options. They have almost all languages here. You can click on them and you'll be able to type in that language. The way you could switch, you could see if you click on cancel, you can see Joe currently has 3 languages on his keyboard. He has US, English, Hebrew, and Spanish. So Joe's currently typing in English. Let's say he wants to switch to Hebrew. The way you're going to do it is at the top of the screen is a little flag, an American flag. And if you click on the American flag, you'll see the other options, Joe, at the top right. You'll see the American flag and you can click on, let's say, Hebrew. Now, when Joe types, it will type in Hebrew. So you could switch easily by clicking on the language icon, which you found at the top right of the screen. On a PC computer, it's at the bottom right. So it's the same button, but it's found at the bottom right. On an Apple computer, it's found at the top right. And that's how you switch from letter to letter. Okay. Now let's go to slide 10. Let's go to tip number 10. This is the last tip we're going to show you before we do our breakout rooms. And this is how to take a screenshot, something that we also showed you on smartphones, how to take a picture of content on your screen. Now the process is slightly different with an Apple and PC. but Julie is going to explain how to take a picture on your computer screen.
Okay, so there's two ways to take a screenshot on an Apple computer. So the first one is going to involve holding down 3 different keys on your keyboard. So the 3 keys would be Shift, Command, and 4. And if you hold down those 3 keys, it will prompt you with like a little cursor. You could see it on Joe's screen. It's black, and it will allow you to drag and select any part of your screen that you want to be in the picture. So let's say Joe wanted to take a picture of the word selection. You could see that he made a box around the word with his cursor. And once he releases his mouse, it's going to take a picture of whatever is in that box. And you could see that the picture is now on the bottom of Joe's home screen, and he can open up the picture if he wants to. So when you hold down Command, Shift, and 4, it allows you to select a certain part of the screen, only a small portion or however much you select with your cursor, and take a screenshot of that. If you hold down Command, Shift, and 3 at the same time, it will take a picture of your entire screen. So you won't be prompted to select a certain portion of your screen. It will just take a picture of the entire screen, including the whole desktop and everything that Joe can see. And that will be in the screenshot. So you can see the difference for Command, Shift, and 4. It's only a small part of the screen that you choose to select in the box. And when you hold down Command, Shift, and 3, it takes a screenshot of the entire desktop or the entire screen that you're looking at.
Nice. So you can see that this is very helpful. I think if you have maybe if you're looking at a web page, if you're looking on the internet, or you want to take a screenshot of an email or take a screenshot of a Zoom, right? You can see right now, you can take a screenshot of the Zoom if you want to, if you're showing a picture or a slide that you want to remember. On a PC computer, Joe, you can go back to the slides because I have it there. The way you actually do this is by Joe, open the slide. I have a slide for this. There we go. So you'll see at the bottom left of a PC computer, there's a space that says type here to search. It's a little magnifying glass. And if you type in there what's called snipping tool, you will see, next slide, you'll see this window will come up. And the snipping tool is the same thing. It's a way to take a screenshot. You'll click on new, and you want to take a new screenshot. And you could, just like Julia showed, drag across the screen. And the picture will be saved to your downloads folder on your computer. Just like on an Apple computer, it will be saved so that you can access it, send it, airdrop it if you want, and do everything as normal. So once again, PC computer, click on the, you could search at the bottom left of the screen, snipping tool, and then you will click on new and then drag across the screen so that you could take a screenshot of the content that you have on your computer screen. Okay, so we just went through 10 very fascinating, interesting tips on how to manage a computer. We are going to be sending out a recording so that you will have the video to watch of this class, because I know we did go through a lot of material and maybe you weren't writing down everything, or you didn't remember everything. We will be sending out a video after the class. Okay, so for the last few minutes of today's class, we are going to be opening up 2 new topics for you. The first one's called picture/videos. If you want to learn how to take and share pictures and videos on your phones, you could join option 1. If you want to learn about how to be secure and private on your computers and smartphones, you should select option 2. Both of them are very fascinating rooms. Option 1 will be recorded. Joe, you can go with Julia. Option 1 will be recorded. Option 2 will not. That's just the extent that we have recording power. So you could join whichever room you would like, but please join the room that you would like. Joe, you can open up the rooms, and Joe will help those who aren't able to join. Option 1.
With a dark gray camera, and on a Samsung device, it should be a purple icon with a white camera. So both of these are clearly the camera icons. And if you click on either of those, depending on the phone that you have, it will take you into the camera app. So today we're going to show you how to do it on an Apple device, because that's what we have. But it's a pretty similar process on a Samsung, where you would take the picture and then send it out to somebody who you want to do so. So I'm going to just show you, Joe's going to share his phone screen. And once he opens his phone screen, we're going to point out the camera icon, the one that we just showed you. So it should look like a little gray icon with the camera inside of it. So Joe's just going to scroll on his home screen to locate that app. And once he finds it, I can circle it for you, and then we're going to click on the app to open up camera. Okay, so you can see that Joe opened up the camera app, and there's a bunch of different options. Right now, Joe has selected photo. So if he presses on this white button, that will now take a picture of whatever is in his room. And you could see that because photo is selected, it will take a picture. If Joe wanted to take a video, he would scroll in that little menu bar, and you could see that it's now a red button. And if he clicks on that red button, it will start the video. And once the video is rolling, you could see that the red circle has turned into a little square. And once he's ready to stop the video, he's going to click on that same button, and it will end the video, and it will save the video in his camera roll. And if he wanted to now look at that video, he would click on the little square on the left side. You could see right over here is if you go out of it, Joe, for 1 second, right over here was a little square. And if Joe clicks on that square, it will open up that video that he just took. And he's able to watch the video by clicking on it and pressing the little play button on the bottom of his screen. And it's now playing the video that Joe just took. If Joe wanted to switch the camera around, so you could see that Joe just took a video of something in his room. But let's say Joe wanted to take a video of himself, or he wanted to take a picture of himself. There is a little icon on the bottom of your screen with 2 arrows on the right-hand side over here. And if you click on that, it's going to change the direction of the camera. So if Joe clicks on that icon, you could see that the camera is now facing him instead of facing his surroundings. And if Joe clicks on that white button, he will take a picture of himself instead of taking a picture of things around him. And if he wanted to now view that picture, he would click on that same square over here, and it would take it would let him view the picture of himself that he just took. Now, let's say Joe wanted to send one of his pictures out to somebody else. So if Joe goes to any of his pictures or videos in his camera roll, you can see that he's able to scroll through them just by dragging on the screen. And if Joe chooses one that he likes, he's able to click on that screen, and it will then prompt him to send out the picture. So if Joe just clicks on this video with his finger, on the bottom of his screen, he will get the option to send out the video to somebody else. Joe, is it working? Oh, okay. So he's just going to show it like this. So I can pin Joe's video so you're able to see him bigger. Okay, so if you see that Joe now has this video open on his screen, and all the way on the bottom, you should see that those same set of icons that we used for AirDrop. If you click on that little arrow with it's coming out of a square, that's the send arrow. So if Joe wanted to now send out this picture or video that he just took, he has a bunch of different options. The first is AirDrop, which we showed you before. But let's say he wanted to text it to somebody in his contacts. He would then click on the messages icon, and in the 2 little line on top, he could type in whoever he wants to send this image to. And once he decides who he wants to send it to, he would type in that name and press the little arrow right next to it, the send arrow that we used multiple times, whether it was for emojis or different things. You would then send that image to whoever you'd like, and that person would then receive the image. Another thing that you could do is you can edit your photos. So let's say Joe took a picture and he wanted to crop it. So if Joe opens up his camera roll and he just took a bunch of different pictures and he wanted to now edit one of those pictures, he would click on that image and you could see that on the bottom, there's a little edit icon. And if he clicks on that little word that says edit, it will give him a bunch of different options on how to edit the picture. And that little, the one that Joe is hovering his finger over, that little box one, that allows you to then crop the image so you can change however big you want it. You can see that there's a bunch of different filters that Joe can choose from, and he can basically just edit the image however he'd like. And once he does that, so you could see that Joe is now cropping out all of the black part, and let's say he only wants this content in the middle. Once he does that, he would press the yellow done button in the bottom right corner. And once he clicks on that done button, he's now saving the new image instead of that old one. And you could see that this new image does not include any of that extra black text on the top. It just includes what he decided to leave when he cropped it out, and it only includes that stuff in the middle. Joe, do you want to explain like the different modes?
Sure. Okay. I need to share my screen for 1 minute. Sorry. Okay. So if you look on my phone screen, you will see on the bottom that photo is selected. Now we already showed you photo and video, but there are some other options. If I go all the way to the right, I can take a panorama. Right? Then the next one is portrait. So let's say you're in front of, let's say you and one other person are in front of a nice background, and you want to take a picture, but you want the person to be more in the middle and to be, I guess, you'd be able to see the person more. You can click on portrait, and you can do you can take a portrait, which is basically the same thing as if you were to paint a portrait, where you're focusing on the person and not the stuff behind the person. We already showed you photo. We already showed you video. You can also take a slow-mo video. That's just another cool thing you can do. And the last thing you can do is a time lapse. So let's say you're on a flight and your flight is about to land, but you want to take a video and you don't want this video to be 10 minutes long. You could take a time lapse. So then this video will be sped up and you could see your whole plane landing in a shorter amount of time. That's just another cool thing.
Okay, so you're able to choose from all of those different options on the camera icon, depending on what you want to do. And then you're able to edit them the way that we showed you, clicking on that little edit button on the bottom of your screen. You're able to send out the picture by clicking on that little box with the arrow coming out of it. You are able to turn the camera around by clicking on those arrows. And then the last thing that we wanted to show you was the flash. So let's say you're in the dark and you wanted to take an image with the flash on. You could see that on the top right corner, on the top left corner, I'm sorry, is a picture with a little lightning bolt in it. And that is the symbol for flash. So if you click on that, you could see that right now there's a little strike through it, which means that the flash is off. If Joe wanted to turn the flash on, he would then click on it again. And because there's no strike through, it's just a plain lightning bolt, that means that the flash is now on. So if Joe took a picture, it would sort of have a little flashlight, the same light that you use when you turn your flashlight on your phone, which we showed you in previous classes. It will then turn the flash on whenever you take a picture. So that's helpful. And if you turn the camera around and you wanted to take a selfie or a video of yourself, then the flash would then shift to the front of your phone. There's a light in the front of your phone, and you could take a picture using the forward flash instead of the flash that's located on your back camera. So that's just an option that you can keep in mind if you want to use flash while taking the picture.
But we do have to wrap up because it is 12:33. I hope you benefited from those lessons. The photos and videos room was recorded. So for those of you who were with me, you will have access to that recording in the link that we'll send out later today. All right, next slide. Everyone should now stay in the Zoom meeting. This is not the end of the class. We still have 1 more minute. I want to make a few announcements. A few things you could do at home this week. The first few are regarding the things that we taught regarding tips to manage your computer. Empty your computer recycle bin, quit your apps occasionally, use split screen to work on 2 programs simultaneously, take a screenshot on your computer and use AirDrop to send a picture from one of your devices to another. All are direct pullouts from things that we discussed in today's class. If you don't remember these things, you could either ask us questions tomorrow night, or you can watch the recording of today's class. If you were in the pictures or videos breakout room, you should take and share a selfie. I'm assuming Joe and Julia showed you how to do that. Try and take and share a selfie. If you're in my room, there isn't too much to kind of be aware of, but just increase the security on your devices by being aware of the topics covered today. The 6 things that we mentioned, you should try and keep those in mind the next time you are on your computer or on your technology devices. We'll send this out to you later today. You don't have to be taking pictures or writing this down. We'll send it to you to the WhatsApp and email, the optional homework. All right, next slide. All right, once again, which I'll talk more about this later on. If you would like to take advantage of our virtual portal, you can do that by going to portal.midwestseniortech.com, which Joe will put into the chat. If you have questions about this, please reach out to me. This is our most premium class that we're offering. It was done professionally, and if you do have questions about it, please reach out to me. We'll discuss this during our 10th class on May 2nd. We'll tell you about next steps for this, but just to be aware of it, if you would like to check this out, you have the link. You could browse it on your own time. Okay, next slide. All right, so today's class was recorded. We will send out a link to the recording at the end of today's class. There will be a Q&A session tomorrow night, Monday, April 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for half an hour. If you have any questions about today's lesson, please send us an email between now and then. You send us an email between now and then with your questions. We will try and address as many as we can during the 30-minute Q&A session. We will not be addressing questions on the fly. So if you do have questions, please send them to us now. The only reason why we would do that is if we don't get too many questions, but typically we do. So if you do have questions, don't be afraid. Send us an email with the questions. We will compile them and address those tomorrow night. Now, our next class will be at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, April 25th. So let's go to the next slide. Now, like I said at the beginning of class, next week is our very, very special class. If you weren't here at the beginning, you'll hear this now. There was a documentary that was streamed on PBS a few weeks ago called Fast Forward. This is a documentary about 4 millennials and their parents as they travel through time using an MIT-produced aging suit. To experience what it's like to age together. Next week on April 25th, we are going to be watching this documentary together. We're going to be having a virtual screening. At the end of the screening, we're going to have the privilege of hearing from the director of the film as well as an associate from MIT, and we'll be able to ask them questions and have a panel discussion with them. This is a required class. This is not optional. You should all attend the class. And you should send the information to anyone who you think can benefit from this special edition class. I really enjoyed it, and I really think you are too. This class will be starting at the same time, 11:30 a.m. It will be a 90-minute class. The class will go from the movie is 60 minutes, so it will go from 11:30 to 12:30, and then we will have around a 30, maybe a 25-minute panel discussion. So the session next week will be from 11:30 to around 1 o'clock. Trust me, after you see that movie, you are going to want to see the panel discussion that we have prepared for you. So everyone should make sure to attend next week's lesson. We want to have a big crowd for the people that are taking their time to come to us, and you could even share the information with people who are not currently enrolled in the class, they can email me for more information. We will be sending out later today a flyer with more information, as well as the Zoom link. And I'll also send out the trailer to the documentary, which you could watch before next week. If you wanted to see what exactly it is about and you want to see more information about it, you could do that as well. You could email me, Julia, Caroline, or Joe for more information as well. Okay, next slide. You could check us out on social media. We'll be posting out more information on Instagram and Facebook and our website. But everything that you need to know will be sent to our WhatsApp or email list. So you'll have that. Last slide. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. We did cover a lot of material. If you have any questions, please email them to us. We will address those at tomorrow night's Q&A session. I will see you next week on Sunday, April 25th at 11:30 a.m. for our extremely special edition class. We'll be watching the Fast Forward documentary. See everyone next week. Have a great week. See everyone soon. Bye-bye.